enjoyed watching it.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to my talk about how to use Azure Blob Storage in .NET. And I'm Mary Lubel, and I'm a data scientist at Renate. So the overview of my talk is here. So first I will give you the needed resources for the exercises, what Kyle also sent through with the introduction. Quickly we'll say what is blob storage. Then we will work on a small use case that actually will be saying why you would actually need blob storage. Next I will show how you can develop with blob storage just by quickly showing how the Azure portal works. But today we won't be working ourselves with the Azure portal because it would be too much of a mess with working with the credentials and everything. Therefore we will be working with the Azure Storage Emulator, which is actually something that you can install and develop online, locally with blob storage, and then afterwards I will be explaining the whole use case in an exercise in 5 different small parts. So what do you need for these exercises? Visual Studio Express, and this is a free version. You can also use other versions of Visual Studio. SQL Server, you need this for being able to use the storage use emulator, and then finally some extra information you can find on the last link. So what is blob storage? It's actually just a service that will allow you to store a lot of data in the cloud, and you can store text or binary data, and you can access them to HTTP or HTTPS, and so there can be publicly data, or it can just be some configuration data that you actually are using for your cloud applications. So common usages is you can use it for images storing, for distributed access, video and audio. Myself at work, I'm using it for accessing like a machine learning application that I've put in the cloud. So I need to first get my data over there, so therefore my local files go to the cloud in blob storage, and then I actually will be able to execute my web service. So how does it look like? What do you actually need? An account for Azure, and with this storage account you will be able to put in some containers. Those containers, you can see them actually like directories, and in these directories you actually will be able to put in some files. So what is the application that we will have? We have locally an awesome file, and we have a web service in the cloud that we want to run. And so in some way we need to be able to get this file actually in contact with the web service. So what will we do? We will be building my container, and we will make a copy of your local file in the cloud. I call it in this way a less awesome remote file, and therefore you also need to have like a unique identifier. For now, for being easy, I just will use like a timestamp, and because this one indeed needs to be unique in the cloud, and probably there will be a lot of awesome local files otherwise available in the cloud. In this way you can let the web service know I have this file that I want to give to you. Web service will be doing some stuff with it and will give back another file, so output of the less awesome remote file, and when the web service has been done, indeed you can download the file to your local system again. What we also don't want after you have run actually your remote application, you want to nicely clean everything up, because if everything stays in the cloud, you also need to pay for it. So therefore.
So in that, like, can you go to the previous slide?
Yeah.
So when it's stored on my container, you rename those files?
Yeah, I rename them.
Okay, so when you want to retrieve, how that matching table has to be there, right, somewhere?
Yeah, that's true indeed. That's what we will see. Like I will give, when I am uploading my file, I will return the timestamp of that, or the name of that file by my function, and then indeed you upload it, and then afterwards you can get that result back.
Yeah.
And then otherwise, also when you're using a web service, there you need to just will give actually all the information to the web service, say this file is this name, this file is that name.
Okay, yeah.
And so how do you develop with Azure Blob Storage? So if you want to have an Azure Storage account, you need to have Azure credentials. What is really nice to do actually from Microsoft, you can get free trials for $250 for 1 month, where you can try up some stuff with it, and you will see then the Azure portal. You will see over here you have the storage accounts, which will actually bring you over here to this screen. I will show it in a minute also through the portal itself, but you will see here you can here add in your extra storage account, what you want to have, and the information. What you next need to choose is, first you need to make sure you have a unique name for your storage account. You can choose next between the resource manager deployment model and the classic model. Currently Azure is saying use the resource manager model because that is the newest version. And next you can choose which account you want to have. We are currently working with Blob Storage. For the performance, you have to choose. You can choose between standard storage or premium storage. Standard storage will be for backups. Premium storage will be if you want to have faster access, and those ones will be backed up by solid state drives. And the standard storage is backed up by magnetic drives. Next, you can also select how fast you will be able to access actually your data, and so you will have the cool, which is slower and which is more ideal for backups, and then the hot is if you need to access your data on a frequent basis. Next, we'll see when you have created your account, you will be able to choose the security level. The nice thing is also actually that you will have the private, the most secure level by default. So if you want to have a less secure option, then you need to perform extra work, and here you can actually get your keys. So if you want to see over here, have here the Azure portal, we have the storage accounts. See nicely the example that I made. And then for example, you can add in an extra and then you're nicely started with the blob storage. So the way we actually now will be working is more also command line, because we will be actually programming things. And so over here, like I also said before, we are going to use the Azure Storage Emulator. So that's a tool that you can download and actually will be able to do blob storage development locally. So for starting this, you can go to your Windows search option at the left bottom, and you search for Azure Storage Emulator if you have installed it, and then you actually will be able to start it up. And in this way, you will get this command line screen. Is anyone following along now with the exercises? Okay, cool. Good. What we next will have, I also show this later on with the exercise, but if you're working with the storage emulator, you can just put in these options in your app settings, in your app.config file. So you say use development storage is true, and this account key will be actually the same for everybody who is actually using the account storage. And then in this way you will see how actually the different endpoints will look like. Okay. So now you have all time for starting the storage emulator. To our use case, so we have the local file indeed, but we want to give a timestamp, which we want to then like feed like the web service. I'm just mimicking this a bit. What I actually will be doing is copying this file to this named file, and then we will be downloading it, and we will split this up in different parts. So the first part will be, we will be starting up a new C# project, and next we'll be adding in the NuGet packages. So if you forgot where NuGet was located, so you go to Tools, NuGet Package Manager. If you next select Package Manager Console, you'll be able to type the ones in needed packages in the command line, and these ones are Windows Azure.Storage and Microsoft with Windows Azure.Configuration Manager. It's important not to forget this beginning part, because otherwise you get another configuration manager and then you will get an error code. And next you will need to add in these different options in the project. So 1 second. Going installing now. Windows. Yeah. Is this well seeable for everybody? Or should I put it in? Okay. How can I?
There's the little boxes down at the bottom
Yeah, right
left
side,
corner of each
right.
window, the 100%.
This one?
Go on your right.
Yeah, okay. Is this better?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, so this guy is successfully installed. Now you take the other one.
That's storage?
That's install package Windows Azure.Storage, yes. Kyle you put the slides on Meetup, right?
Yep, they're already there.
So if
Okay.
you want to have the slides also locally, you can get them from there. Package, Microsoft. Windows, Azure. No. Okay. So it's really important not to forget the first part here. Forgot it this morning when I was practicing, and then the code didn't work. So next part, what we want to update is over here, the app.config, and here we are adding in app settings. And storage connection string. And value. use. Okay. And now we will be able. Okay, did it work out?
Mary,
Yeah?
could you go back to your app config file, please?
Okay, the semicolon. Okay.
Right.
App key? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So next part what we have is the structures of the exercises. How will we be working? Okay. We will have each exercise, we will put them in a static function method, except for the first one where we will be returning back the string because we want to know there the timestamp that we are giving, and the other one all will be void. And in the main method we just will do starting exercise, end exercise, and each time in here we can change the numbers. So. No problem. Otherwise, I will go now through the example and then later on you can do it. This out also. Okay, so. And also, for these methods to work, you need to add in the extra libraries. Now, sorry. Now I was going one slide. So, our main method here. And we will just have over here. This is just our main build that we will be working with. And remove this guy. Okay, so we have our main building on. Okay, so as we can see, first thing we'll be starting with is actually being able to connect with the storage account. And how will we do this? First, we will need 3 libraries. So Microsoft.Azure, Microsoft.Windows Azure.Storage, and Microsoft.Windows Azure.Storage.Blob. So these guys over here, they're now gray because currently we're not really using them. And our next part will actually be accessing the cloud. What do we need for this? The cloud storage account object, and we will be getting the storage connection string that we put in the app.config file. Next, we will make a Blob client from the storage account, and over here we will be actually creating our my container, and we will create it if it doesn't exist. Zero. And we have successfully created the container. Okay. Everybody okay for now? Now we want to copy actually our local file to the remote file. And what we'll be doing for this, we'll be creating timestamp from datetime now. This is the format that we are giving for transforming the block name. And this way, quickly we'll write the name to the cloud, and we'll be also creating a local file, which we actually will be uploading to the cloud. Yeah. Okay. So what we will see also here, like the remark from before, I'm returning the block name here. Okay. So that actually later on we will be able to use this file to download. Yeah, to download it. Okay. We will see, we was again just first checking for the container, and next we will see actually that the file got there remotely. Okay. And now we are actually interested what is now available in the cloud. So that is actually what we will see in exercise 2, that we actually will be putting in a list of what's available in the cloud.
Since you're using the emulator, where is that file actually going?
It's going in SQL Server.
Okay.
That's the reason that you also need to have it installed. And you can actually change a bit where you exactly want to locate it in SQL Server. Okay, so if you want to list all the blobs in your file, what will you be able to do? You have your cloud storage account, again getting access, the blob client, the container, and now you will be asking to list the blobs. We will be currently only interested in the block and the blobs itself, so therefore we're checking what type you will be having, and next we will be giving the length of the file and the URI. You see nicely the file that we just stored in the cloud with the larv object and the name here. So you see indeed currently we just will be putting all files there at the end, but we are actually also cleaning up the file after we have copied it over. And the last exercise that you actually will be able to do is just cleaning up all the files that you actually didn't clean up before. So we have now our file in the cloud. The file will be given to the web service. Web service will be doing something with this file. We just will be mimicking this, that we actually just make a copy of this file and just rename the file. And what will we actually do for this? We make a block output name, so we have the original name that we have from exercise 1. We put an O to the front. Again, we get a storage account. And over here, we will get a block reference to the original file, to the output file, and we will copy the original file actually to the target block. And at the end, we will be actually downloading the file here. First delete this guy. Okay. Only this is only the local file now. And if we see over here. If we look now over here, we have created the output file. Okay. So now we actually also want to clean up everything nicely. I will first again run exercise 2 that you actually see that all the extra files are still there. And what we actually will be able to do for this is just adding in like the target blob, delete this guy, the blob, the other guy, the original file, also delete this one. And okay. You will see is we first run the listing again. we see we have all the first file that we generated, the second file together with the output, so we still have these guys over here. Now we will actually change this to the version over here, where afterwards we're nicely cleaning up the target file, so the O file, and the block, the input file. So what we see now is won't give us much difference, but actually we run our listing again. You will see we haven't added anything extra. You see the deleting is working. The last exercise what you can do eventually is changing the listing, that you actually, instead of just showing your exercise, that you actually will be able to delete your exercise. Okay. So this was the overview of the blob storage. So you can try the exercises yourself now, and I hope it was a good introduction for it.
I have a question about when you did the copy.
Yeah.
That takes place in the cloud. It doesn't
Yeah.
pull a copy down locally.
No, it's in the cloud. Because normally you would have like a web service who is doing something and returning an object, but I wanted to leave out this part, so therefore this is copying in the cloud what you're doing. It's like learning like a bit a new operating system that actually works in the cloud. Extra questions? App config file. Here you actually need to change to a different connection string. Setting these values, giving your credentials, and then this is the way you will be able to access it.
Is that something you can get off of the Azure portal?
Yeah. It's like what you have over here. Like, yeah, I showed it also in the slide over here, so. Over here, you will have your access keys. And you will have 2 keys of them in that way, because they say try to renew them on a regular basis. So when you're renewing one, you can still work with the other one. And you also just will be having here your information further of your Blob service endpoint and everything. The information is all nicely available in the Azure portal. This one is pretty straightforward. Sometimes it's harder to find for some web services actually the keys that you need, but it's all available there. You have a lot of nice examples also.
How often do you need to renew the keys?
I believe they say each few weeks.
Do they remind you to do that? Because I could see forgetting.
Actually, they don't remind you about it, so